Welcome everyone. Episode 8 of Cooking with Chef Johnyshwa. We have a very special guest star today. Carolyn is here. I had gone shopping last night and was at Ladi Mart, a local Korean market, and they had these strawberries, 2 for $2.99. I bought 4 of them. So I said to Carolyn before, as she came home from school, why don't you help out tonight? Maybe we can make something. And together we came up with
Strawberry Shortcake.
Strawberry Shortcake, which is going to be a lot of fun. On my side, I'm making collard greens. I have the last of my St. Patrick's Day corned beef. I made corned beef hash this weekend. We've eaten it 3 different ways. I'm going to be using my nice salty, fatty meat as a base in my collard greens. I'm going to be searing some pork loin. I made a really great rub. That's what I use: smoked paprika and rosemary and garlic and salt and pepper and some chili powder. And I'm going to be searing the pork loin with that rub on there. And then I have some butternut squash, some celeriac, and some parsnips. And I'm going to sear them on the plancha or in the pan. And then have them sit as a bottom, a bed for the pork loin while it's in the oven. Okay. We also have some fingerling potatoes we're going to be eating. I know the kids don't like some of these root vegetables, so we have some fingerling potatoes. We're going to be using potatoes, and we're going to parboil them first and get them cooking, and then we're going to smash them. We're going to sear them on the plancha. We have some sautéed onions ready to go, and we have just an incredible dinner in store for us. I can't wait for tonight's dinner. Okay, so first up we have our flour mixture. Carolyn, tell us a little bit about our flour mixture.
Well, we put some flour, the baking soda, the powder, and then sugar.
All right, so for everybody at home, let's take a look at our recipe. Carolyn has the recipe on her phone.
Yeah.
And so we're using exactly, so everybody can know, we're using 2 1/4 cups of flour.
So we used a 1/2 cup of white sugar, and then we used 2 cups and 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour, and then 4 teaspoons of baking powder.
Right. And the sugar, actually 2 tablespoons, because remember that other sugar's for the strawberries.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just mix our dry ingredients. So Carolyn, go ahead. And we want to mix our dry ingredients. We want to get all of our sugar. We want to get our baking powder and our salt all combined. Because once we start cutting in our fat, we don't want those dry ingredients trapped in any one area. Okay? Our fat of choice for tonight is going to be shortening. We're going to be using shortening in our biscuits. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to be using a special technique. Carolyn, tell us about this. What is this called?
This is a pastry blender.
A pastry blender. And we use a pastry blender for incorporating fat into flour without blending them. And we know when we're done, when there's little pea-shaped sizes.
Like crumbs.
Like crumbs. And when you see those, you know you're ready to go. So Carolyn's going to start. I'm going to add in. She was a little freaked out by the
that.
Crisco today. So before we start doing this, a little thing we can do. You don't want to dive right in with your pastry blender. You want to kind of cover it up with some flour and just give it a quick mix. If you dive right in with the pastry blender, it's just going to stick into the middle, and you're going to have a hard time mixing it. So I give it a little bit of a mixture. I get all that Crisco in there, and then Carolyn's going to start using her pastry blender and mixing it up. All right, that's looking great. So while Carolyn is working that, I have the collard green pot all ready to go. So we have the pot on low. It's starting to heat, and I have some beautiful corned beef, the last of my corned beef, and we're going to add that right into the pan. I'm going to be using a technique I talked about yesterday, and that's the rendering technique. Usually we're using some lardons, usually we're using some kind of fat, but we're going to be using, in this stage, the corned beef. As we all see Robin making her little guessing appearance. Cooking with Johnyshwa. Cooking dinner from our house to yours. All right, so I'm going to turn my flame up just a little bit higher, and I want to start to cook my my corned beef. All right, so let's take a look. You know, the technique is you want to push down and turn the bowl. See how we're doing that? And we keep turning our hand and turning our hand and turning our hand. And you're just about there anyway. All right. So at this point, we're ready to add our wet ingredients.
Okay.
And we have 1 egg that is well beaten. And what else do we have in the Caroline?
2/3 of a cup of milk.
All right, so we're gonna take those two, and we're gonna add these together. Give those a little whisk with your fork. And give it a little whisk. Now, we're gonna add the eggs and the milk into the flour in about 7 seconds. 7 seconds. And we're gonna use this really quick technique I've been doing over years because we don't wanna make our flour or our biscuit very pasty, okay? We wanna incorporate all the wet ingredients, but we don't wanna saturate in any one area. So what's gonna happen is, I'm gonna start to mix, Carolyn, right? And you're gonna just go like that. Just go whoop, all the way in a circle.
Your arm letting me
Okay, well, I'm gonna keep mixing it. Ready, set, go.
Oh no, oh no.
Right? All right, very good. All right, right? Very good. Stop, right? And we're ready to go. The key to this is not over mixing. We want to leave this very clumpy. This is like a shortcut puff pastry, pie crust, and we don't want to overwork this. If we were to overwork this right now, it would become tough. It will become very chewy, and it's not really something that we're looking for. Okay, but we do want to have all the ingredients mixed in, right? So we're mixed in, and it took about 7 seconds to mix all those dry ingredients in. All right, once we have them now, we're gonna take a baking pan, about a 9x13, and we're gonna add our ingredients in, okay? Even if it doesn't look fully combined, that's how we want it to look. That's how we know we're gonna have a nice biscuit. So we're gonna press this down into our pan, okay? And you can hear my thing starting to render, right? And then if it's not too wet, you can go ahead and start using your hands. So we're gonna start using our hands, or the back of my fingers, as my mom would always teach me. Carolyn, grab some flour for us. Another little trick that we can do, as we're working, I'm just gonna turn my pan down, is just get a little bit of flour. You know, we want the biscuits to be moist and they feel a little bit wet. So if we just dust the top, just very little. Now look what happens. Oh, very easily can press this out and not worrying about our hands sticking or getting too much. Okay, so it's a little more flour. So how long is this going to take in the oven now, Carolyn?
Let me check. And it's going to take about 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay, so we have our biscuit cake / pan set and ready to go. We have an oven already set for 425 degrees?
Yes.
We have an oven set for 425 degrees, and that's going to run 15 minutes. All right, Alexa, set a timer for 15 minutes.
What's that one? Alexa,
All right.
set a timer for like 15 minutes.
15 minutes. All right, very good. So now we're going to move on to our collard greens.
Set a timer for
I'm going to
15
go over here
minutes.
and get a spoon, if I can find one. All right, Carolyn, you can start on cutting your strawberries
Should I move like over here?
and getting those set and ready to go for today.
Should I move like right
Oh,
here?
you can stay right here, it's fine.
Oh.
All right, so I'm going to turn on my pan. I'm going to get that going. I really want to start to render out, cut all 2 pints. Yeah, 2 pints. So you're going to take the tops off of them, and we're going to slice them like you had them for snack today.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil and really help get them going. Now that they're starting to render, they're starting to pick up a little bit of caramelization, I'm going to go ahead and I have 1 onion, medium diced. I'm going to add my onion in, and I want those to sweat and cook with my corned beef. You know, really excited to be cooking some collard greens today. You know, at Homedale, I've written many curriculums over the years, and one of my favorite curriculums is when we do North America. And I've broken North America down into, you know, what I call, you know, the food section. So we have, you know, the Mid-Atlantic, and we have New England. We do Cajun Creole. We do some Pacific Rim. We do a little Korean Mexican fusion. Okay, but then one of my favorites, and I think the backbone to everything we're doing is soul food. We do a unit on soul food. We don't spend enough time, but I tell you, the time that we're there, the kids absolutely love it. Making all the classics, from smothered pork chops, and we've made catfish over the years. Always making collard greens. I do buttermilk biscuits, or buttermilk wings that are dipped in buttermilk and flour and fried. And then always, of course, serving it with Kool-Aid. So we have our collard greens today. I've washed and diced my collard green, pretty large dice. And we're going to be adding them to our onions and our meat. While that's cooking, and we don't want to put it in too premature, I want to talk about our main entree. We're going to be working with some pork loin today, and I'm going to be seasoning this with the rub. As I'm talking, I'm also going to be putting on my fingerling potatoes. Okay, fingerling potatoes, to smash them, we want to parboil them and really want to get them going well. I'm going to add a little bit of salt into them, and then we have those ready to go. I have my trusty cave ready to go. Be careful, don't cut. Always cut on the cutting board. It's all right. Just throw that part away. Okay. So, and getting my spice mixture. If I knew what my spice mixture was, right here. So we have our rub mixture today, and again, rosemary, and we have some smoked paprika and some garlic powder. Notice how I'm seasoning. You know, when I'm seasoning, I'm letting the herbs and spices fall out of my hand, okay? But it's not getting clumped up all in one area. You know, when you're seasoning something, it should be like when it first snows out, and you look outside, and the ground's covered with the snow, and that's what we're kind of looking for now. All right. So you get a nice even coating. We're going to turn our pan on behind us, get our plancha going. Okay, and we're going to be searing our pork chops, or center cut pork loin, on the plancha. A little bit of spice mixed over. What's that?
They weren't really good.
Yeah, any extra strawberries is not good. You know, we got a great deal on them, but obviously some of them weren't so hot. So I'm going to go ahead and get my plancha on now. Plancha is going, looking really good. My onions, we're watching our onions. Oh boy, wow. Getting some nice caramelization. You know, really starting to get going on there. We see our onions starting to sweat, starting to brown a little bit, and that's really great. Okay. So at this point, we're going to take this out, and I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to add my collard greens right on top. I'm not going to mix them in. I'm going to continue to let those onions cook down on the bottom, but I want to get my collard greens in. All right. So collard greens are going in. Oh boy. And really push those down. Push those down. I'm going to add a little bit of salt in there, and they're going to sweat out really nice. Okay? I'm going to switch them out. I'm going to move those in the back. Turn it on back there, and we'll be set and ready to go. All right, so now we can talk a little bit about our root vegetables that we're going to be adding in today. I see that we have a little bit of technical difficulty. Please stand by. Even though my phone is on Do Not Disturb, it still goes through. So we have our butternut squash, we have some celeriac, and we have some parsnips. And we really want to keep these together, and I'm going to get a pan going. So I have a pan going on right now. This is a saute pan, and I want to get a little bit of oil going in the pan and really get them going. I want to use those as a base for the bottom of my pork as it goes in the oven. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get that going. Let my pan get nice and hot. I'm going to season my collard greens. We can't forget a little bit of salt. I will add a little bit of black pepper later on, but not just yet. I'll allow it to cook. Our strawberries are cutting beautifully over here. You see how nice these all look? Oh my God. Oh my God. Are we eating good tonight? Oh my gosh. All right. I'm going to start getting some olive oil on my plancha. Have them starting to cook. Right? I feel some nice heat. You know, you ever want to check it, you don't want to splash any water on something like this. It can really come back at you. But put your hand over the top. You know, it shouldn't be splattering. You're not going to have any water coming off of it. And you can really get it going. Saute pan is looking really nice. I want to add my root vegetables in before I start searing my beautiful. So we're going to leave those in there, let those cook away, and really let them start going. Okay, the pork loin. I want to start to get those on there. Beautiful. Looking really nice. These are really thick cut pork chops, so I'm not going to let my plancha get too hot. Okay? I'm not looking to cook them all the way through on the plancha, but I also don't want them to burn before they get a good sear on them. Okay? So, I'm going to leave my plancha on about medium-high heat. Right now I have it on high heat because it's just getting at the temperature. Okay? But I want to go ahead and be able to turn that down. All right. So we have all our food on. Multiple things happening at one time, and this is great. I love cooking. This is the part where you have potatoes on, and we have the pork on, and we have the collard greens cooking. Carolyn's cutting strawberries. Alexandra's trying to call me on the phone for the fourth time. If she, would think if I'm not answering after the first time, she'd understand why. Okay, thank you. Yeah, she won't stop. We'll see how many more times she calls back today. And we really want to keep this going. I'm going to grab some tongs and take a look. Make sure that my pork is looking good, looking really nice, and I can start to give my collard greens a good stir. All right, I'm going to get another spoon out. This is looking great. A lot of water is going to start coming off of your collard greens, so be careful. Don't go ahead and add, you could add apple juice, or you could add water. You could add stock. Some pork stock would be great in there. But you could add water, but don't right away. Take your time because you're going to get a lot of water coming off your collard greens also. All right, I'm going to start to mix around my collard greens. Get that onion and fatty meat all around, and that's really starting to look great. I'm going to turn the pan down. I have it on a high flame. I'm going to start to turn that down. I don't want that to be too high. I'm going to go ahead and season my veggies. Get those going. And you know what? I'm going to use a little bit of that spice mixture. I had that spice mixture left over. It's on the counter over there. I had that spice mixture left over. And why not, as an old adage, to let your flavors echo throughout your food. Having a good base to our vegetables and then echoing that up into our pork, I think it'd be a great idea. All right, so Carolyn's just about done with her strawberries. She's looking really great. Why don't we pile all the bowls to one side? We can put our strawberries in one bowl, and then we're going to end up making some whipped cream in a moment also. All right. Wow, our biscuit's looking great. Just checking on it.
It is too big.
No, it's good size. Biscuits are looking great. They're in the oven. Probably about 5 or 7 minutes left on there, and we're going to let those kind of go through. I'm going to go ahead and look at my vegetables. All right. Yeah, strawberries will go in a bowl. All right, and I'm going to start looking at my pork chop, or center cut pork loin. Oh my gosh. Beautiful. Beautiful. Getting a really nice sear on these. Again, not too high of a flame. I'm really going to allow these to cook all the way through. But as you can see, we're really getting a nice sear on these, and these are looking great. All right, we even got smoke alarms going off today and everything. This has been great. All right, so, go open the window a little bit. All right, so like I said before, if your smoke alarm's not going off, you're not creating flavor. That caramelization, that browning is really important, okay? So, we have those going really nice. And looking really good. You can close those doors to that front part also, that would be great. Okay, while I was setting up mise en place today, I came across some Sour John pickles. And the Sour Johns, we have the real deal Thai. And these are just amazing. These have to be probably, I don't even know, 6-7 months old by now. And they're spicy. Want to try a real deal?
Sure.
Yeah? It's spicy. And just really incredible. Oh yeah, you see that sour? That's the face of Sour John's. That's sour.
It's really spicy.
And it's like, you don't have to finish it all. But going really great. Sour John's. The flavors, the real deal Thai, just amazing. So, I have my plancha turned down. Again, not trying to go too high. I have my potatoes that are just coming up, get to a boil. When those potatoes come up to a boil, they're going to be about done. We're not looking to cook them all the way through, but we're going to be smashing them and finish them on the plancha with some julienne onion that we have set up. All right? So, got all of our root vegetables cooking. We want to pick up a little caramelization on them. We're going to be adding them into the pan. And this is going to be roasting in the oven. So I have my baking pan set right here. It has been lined with tin foil. And we have the oven set at, I'm going to put it around 425 degrees. I have it up around 450, 475 right now. When I open that oven door, it's really going to go fast. Alexa, how much longer on the timer?
Alexa, how much longer on the timer? 1 minute 30 seconds.
All right, minute 30 seconds. So we're going to take our root vegetables. They're going to go on the bottom. We're going to move those around. And we're going to shut off our plancha. Remember, we're just trying to sear our pork. We're not necessarily looking to cook it all the way through. All right, so we're going to set our pork on top. Oh, plenty of it. All right. Perfectly. So, so we have our pork set up on top of our root vegetables. This is going to go into the oven, 425 degrees, to an internal temperature of about 135, 140 degrees, which we're at that temperature it may take about 20 minutes. So, I'm going to go ahead and put that in, open up behind you, and we have that going. All right, now, next we have our plancha. Now, we don't want to burn our plancha, so I turned it off. I'm going to be taking my potatoes, and we're going to be searing them on there. Now that we're done searing, we can turn the fan off. The alarm stopped going off. Our house didn't burn down, right? And we're looking really good. All right, so next we want to do is we want to get the bowl. You know what? Let's make the whipped cream in the mixer. What do you think? Yeah. We don't have some great Alexa off. Yeah, let's take that out, and we'll take out the, what do you call it, Carolyn? The whisk. All right. So our collard greens are looking really great right now. You know, they've lost a lot of volume, and we really want to give those a good stir. We still see a lot of water coming off of them right now. So, and they're continuing to braise in their own liquid, and that's really what we want. We don't want to dilute that flavor by adding any kind of water and things, and we really want to cook those down and allow those collard greens to really absorb all the flavors from all of the meat and the onions, and looking really great. So we're going to leave this on and let this go a little bit. So let's bring this closer until it's in TV land for everybody. Do we have a whisk?
No.
Yeah, the whisk that's in there.
Oh,
yeah.
The metal one?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Do you
So,
have a phone?
yep. On the other side, will it reach? I think it will.
Ah, a little more back.
I can move this. Yep, there we go.
Yeah, perfect.
All right. All right, so we have our strawberry slice for our strawberry shortcake. We're going to take that out of the oven right now. We're going to put that off to the side. And go ahead and get our biscuit out. And that was set for 15 minutes, and boy, wow. It looks amazing. The biscuit came out amazing in the pan. You'll see it looks really great. We're going to be cutting this into fours. and then stacking it. You could make circles and cut it. We're going to have one heck of a presentation. So you way off and see that. But we're going to put this off to the side now. Let this cool. Okay, leave it off to the side. And we're going to make our whipped cream. Carolyn, let's grab one of the pints of cream that we have. We're going to start with some really cold cream and get that going. Let's see if we can add our cream. Give your cream a good shake. Remember, cream is not homogenized. So your fat will kind of settle to one side. So always want to give your cream a good shake. We're getting that go. And we're going to add it in. Here, the vanilla. Okay. So I have my cream in. I have 5 tablespoons of sugar right here. I'm going to be adding in just about 3 tablespoons just to get it going. Okay, and I'm going to get it going on high. I don't want to add all of my sugar at once. The sugar will kind of help or to stop the whipped cream from getting to its full volume. So I only add just a little bit of sugar just to get started. Very good. All right. All right. So we're going to add just in just a little bit of vanilla, just for flavoring. And we want most of our flavor coming from our strawberries and not necessarily just vanilla. Really start to turn it up on high. And I'm not going to wait for my cream to get to its full volume. I'm going to start adding sugar slowly. And I'm doing that so we can keep the volume and we have time for the sugar to dissolve in the cream. Very good. Now we can get the whisk all the way up. You know, and you can use powdered sugar, you can use granulated sugar. As long as you're dissolving the sugar, it's going to be just fine. We're going to be holding this whipped cream in the oven. We're going to be eating our strawberry shortcake right after we have dinner tonight. And we should be eating dinner probably in the next 20 minutes or so. We're looking pretty close. So, another trick you can do, if you put your hand under the mixer, you can kind of lift the bowl just a little bit. A little dangerous with the technique, but when you're not putting a lot of ingredients into your mixer, your whisk is really not getting to the bottom all the way. So by putting your hand underneath it, it helps to make it a little more stable. And I have Carolyn here that if the mixer gets away from me, can always turn it off. Alright? You want a really stiff whipped cream. Take it up to its highest right now. What does that look like? Whipped cream. Alright. So we got a nice stiff whipped cream.
Does it like?
Yep.
Is it that thing?
Well, see, it'll hold its stiff peak. Right, it's not falling over.
Yeah.
All right. So what you can do is now, Carolyn, just get some plastic wrap and cover this, and we'll put it into the refrigerator. Okay. So we're going to cover that up. Get our whipped cream in. That'll be all set and ready to go for us for after dinner. Going to take a look at my collard greens again. Oh boy, lots of moisture coming off of them. They're looking phenomenal. They're going to take probably another 20 minutes or so. And guess what? My potatoes just came to a boil. So I think they're done. I'm going to go ahead and shut off my potatoes, and I'm going to bring these over so I can get them strained. Again, when making potatoes, never really want to go straight into the oven with them. They dry out very quickly, and you always want to give them a little bit of a parboil. It's really going to help them along. Okay? So, go ahead and take my pan, throw away my tin foil, and I can go ahead and get my potatoes on there. Excuse me, Carolyn. All right, so we're going to have our potatoes on there. Those are all looking really great. Right? And we want to make sure that they're looking really, that we're going to smash them. They're a little warm right now. All right, so we're going to let them cool just for a moment. Okay. Some things that we're going to be having with them. We're going to have our smashed potatoes. We're going to have some julienne onions. and we're going to allow them to cool. Now, we're going to be using the plancha where we seared our pork, right? And we have a little piece of pork Carolyn was asking about just a little while ago. So go ahead, you taste that piece. I'll taste this piece. Mmm. Mmm. Really great flavors. Really great. So, I turn my plancha back on. I'm going to be adding just a little bit of olive oil so we can cook our potatoes on there. It helps to pick up all those flavors. Okay? We can take these and you can use your hand to kind of push down on them, and you see they're going to smash. You know, we don't want to smash all the way. Okay? That's okay. She can work.
Okay.
See how it kind of pops open? See that, Carolyn? It's not really cooked all the way through yet, but it's cooked enough that it's absorbed some moisture, and you can actually push down on it, and it's going to end up cooking in the pan. All right? So, I'm going to start handing me potatoes, and I'll smash. Let me put them on the cutting board. Right? So we'll start smashing and smashing and smashing. Right? They're a little hot right now, but if you want to, you can use a rag to help push down on them. Yeah, they're hot. Okay? But they're looking really good, nice and smashed. All right? Keep putting those on there. I'm going to start putting these onto the plancha for our smashed potatoes. And we don't want to go too high. The flame's on pretty high right now. But I'm going to turn this down pretty quick because we don't want these to cook all the way through. Just close that window.
Yeah.
Yes. If Lisa is on here, I know Lisa likes to watch this. You hear your Daisy barking. Your Daisy girl. We call her Aunt Lisa Daisy. Yes, she is on there. You will hear her. So, looking really good. I'm going to turn down my flame about halfway right now. And it looks like I may need just a little bit of olive oil, right? Don't want these to burn. You know, olive oil really acts as the conduit and helps everything. So we want to put that on. We don't want the smoke alarm going off. All right? We're going to keep those. Let's start bringing some stuff. We can bring some stuff over there. Just start organizing it by the sink. We'll clean up when we're done. All right. So, looking really good right now. We have our potatoes on. I'm going to add just a little bit more olive oil. You'll hear that searing. And then right now, I'm going to go ahead and add my onions. I'm going to add my onions right on top of my potatoes as they're searing. They're going to help the steam on top of my potatoes. Help to keep them nice and moist. And then the onions are going to be caramelizing around them also. So, it's been an incredible day so far. We're going to have some meal. We have our pork loin seared with our rub. We did smoked paprika and rosemary and garlic and salt and pepper and a little bit of chili powder. And we have those seared in the oven on top of our root vegetables, right? Our butternut squash and celeriac and parsnips. We seared those in a pan and have those on the bottom, and then our pork is cooking on top. We're going to cook our pork to about 135, 140 degrees. USDA recommends 135. It'll carry over to about 145, and then we'll be ready to eat. Just a little bit pink on the inside, but not very much. Our smashed potatoes going with our caramelized onions, collard greens with corned beef and onions. And to top it off, we're having strawberry shortcake for dessert. Hooray! We get strawberry shortcake! Yay! So we're very excited. And I get to eat the rest of Carolyn's pickle.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us. Look for pictures to follow. We will present pictures of our final entrees and dessert. And from our family to yours, thank you so much for spending some time with us today, allowing us to share our dinner with you. Thank you so much and have a great day. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.